mistakes or adult actions. So I'm hoping that we come out of this.
Too much at stake.
Too much at stake.
This budget is a call to action for the entire community to come together and really make a difference. We have to stop acting as if the children that we are serving today will not be caring for us in the future. We all have obligations to care for our children.
It is the responsibility of the generation who are the elders to invest what we can to ensure that the next generation of leaders will be intact. It starts with education. Let's fight the bullet and let's do what we have to do to ensure that they have equal footing, that they can compete with young people in any other city.
I'm a taxpayer too. Nobody wants to see taxes go up. I'm willing to invest in the children because I think about it. Somebody invested in me. When I was growing up,
When you think about Mount Vernon, you're going to think about sports and the great people that have come out of this, our school and our city, went on to become amazing leaders in industry, in Hollywood, and in sport.
I pray to God that they pass this bill.
The thought of us not having it is unacceptable.
They have to have all the things that we had growing up, and even better. When everyone is together and everyone is on the same page, this city thrives.
Every child deserves the best because there's so much potential.
And they inspire me, which is why I will fight for them. They depend on it. They depend on it. They depend on it.
thank you. Thank you. I hope that resonated with each and every one of you that saw it. At this time, it is with heavy hearts that we announce that we lost one of our staff members that work here in the district, and is also one of our board trustees' sisters. And so we just want to acknowledge that and have a moment of silence for Nicole Middleton. Thank you. Thank you. And our prayers remain with you, Lynn. At this time, we will have a presentation of Board of Education financial FAQ. Oh, I'm sorry, I apologize. 3.1 presentation from AP Biology students from Denzel Washington School of the Arts.
Alright, so as I can see up there, we did an installation and a DLOS experiment. Well, we have other team members, but they couldn't be here today, so it is me, I'm Haley's, and I'm with Ray. Can y'all hear me? Yeah. Okay. Next slide, please. Okay. So this is our vision statement. So it's basically why we want to do this project. So it says there to help our community to save money on electricity bills and work towards environmental justice. So me and the other members of our team were in a youth bureau program called the YAC, the Youth Empowerment Advisory Council, and we had a sustainability campaign basically focusing on our community and trying to help our environment. And it really ties into why we did this, because we want to save money, doing stuff that is also environmentally friendly. So we're focusing on reducing energy waste at home, and we are hoping to share this with school district administrators, fellow students, parents, community leaders, and political leaders. Next slide, please.
So our research question was, how do different materials insulate heat, and how can this help everyone save money on home heating. The slides, it says that scientific basis is like why we're trying to do this, because thermal energy naturally moves from warm regions to colder ones, and insulating materials slow this energy transfer by reducing conduction and radiation. And this is relevant to the real world because homeowners, communities, and even schools can save money, which insulators they can use to slow everything down and more money. All right, next slide, please.
So we have a few different materials. We have some of them with us. So we have, this is the foam board, yeah. This one is the reflective foil. It's pretty reflective to me. This is the fiberglass. Kind of dangerous to work with, I was kind of scared. This is the spray foam. That looks so cute.
The little bird on the bottom.
Oh yeah, this little bird on the bottom. Oh my god. So when we were doing it, we had hot plates, right? So we would think, oh, we're trying to get the water to boiling, 100 degrees Celsius. So we put the hot plates to 100 degrees Celsius. We left for around 30 minutes to an hour, and the water didn't change at all because of the insulator. So we're like, if we want to see the water temperature change a little bit, let's make it a little hotter. So a little silly thought, we made it to 500 degrees Celsius, so it burned. If you look at the bottom of this one, it's a little dark. You can smell the smoke throughout the second floor. You had to open up the window. Yeah. And for the foam board, this one, you see it's like a little loosey-goosey because the bottom burnt, so we had to fix it. Yeah. And then this is the aluminum foil, just like normal aluminum foil that you would find in your kitchen. And yeah, put some more supplies. Well, we had a control group, obviously, but it's just a beaker.
Alright, so this was our experimental procedure. We prepare the water, and then we heat the water to 150, and that was the one that we decided on after 100 and 500 degrees Celsius. We apply the insulation, so all these materials are the insulators, and then we record the temperature every 15 minutes. Every 5 minutes we would record the temperature for a total of 30 minutes, and whichever one changed the least or changed the most, that's how we put it. And then we compare at the end to see which one changed the least to that was the best insulator. So
yeah. All right, next slide. Okay, so yeah, this is our start. So you can see that the spray foam was pretty good, and the foam board and the spray foam are our best. So since we can only get the hot plate, we set the hot plate to 150 degrees Celsius because we didn't want ourselves to burn again. So the water ended up getting to 50 degrees Celsius, which wasn't what we wanted, but it's what we got, so we had to work with it. But yeah, it's still showing how the different insulators insulated. So you can see that the control group, which didn't have any insulators, the water was around 50 degrees Celsius, but in the other ones you can see that the temperature, some of them were around 20, 21 degrees. Yeah. So our best insulators were the spray foam, the foam board, and the reflective foil. And our worst were, well, it really was the aluminum. It didn't really do much. As you can see, the water averaged around 32 degrees. All right, yeah, that's our data. All right, next slide, please. Yeah, and this is just an overall, it's just basically just the slide before. The difference between the predicted and the observed is because we were trying to get the water to 100 degrees Celsius because it's boiling, but that didn't work. So, but it's still, it still works. The observed is way lower than the predicted, which means that our insulators worked pretty well. And that translates to our monthly savings because all of these insulators we got from Home Depot. So, you know what Home Depot, I hope we all know what Home Depot is, get stuff for your house, right? So, if you were to use these insulators in your home, these are, it's an estimation of what you could save every month. Yeah, next slide. Nice.
So this is just how you apply it in the real world and stuff, how. So let's let's say the monthly bill was $200 for energy. So the heat loss reduction would save you it would be at 30%. So that would be around $60 a month and would be $720 a year you would save by having a better insulator. And it's just like efficient in the summer, and it's better for the environment, and it's just like better for your home in general.
And think about it. Wouldn't you all love to have an extra $720 at the end of the year? Because I know things are expensive, yeah, right? So it is a little experiment just to show how different insulators can help you in your pocket. Yeah, I think that's all for us.
Good job, ladies.
Thank you.
Thank you. Good job.
Hello guys, so my name is Doris Taylor, this is my team. My name is Samara Lovelace. Good evening everybody, I'm Sinai Turner. My name is Michelle Gayoso. This is not our presentation, but and there it goes. Just like before. Yeah. So I know we all have heard our mothers say to tell us to turn off the light before we leave a room, or to unplug our lamp before we go on a trip, or to unplug the TV if you're not using it. The reason behind our parents pushing this on us is not to nag, but instead to try to save money and reduce wasting energy. Phantom energy defines how electronic devices draw electricity when it appears to be turned off. So those little switches like on the back of your blender, they're not really off. This unnecessary standby power increases carbon emissions, which is bad for the environment and bad for your health. So our project today is to show that we care about the community and we are aware how dangerous levels of carbon threaten the safety of the public. Next slide.
Okay, to do this experiment, we used the plug-in energy monitor, that was like the base of it, and then obviously the pen, the data, the notebook. And you can test this on many devices like smartboards, refrigerators, laptops, iPads, charging cards, air filters, photocopiers, ACs.
Next slide, please. Okay,
So basically, our procedure was we would select one device from the school or our list, and we would plug the energy monitor into the outlet. Then we would plug said device that we had into the energy monitor so we could track the data, but the device would be turned off the entire time to track the data. And after like a day or so, we would collect the information off the device.
next slide, please. Okay, so on our chart, we can see some of the things that we measured. We try to measure everything in our school, like our machines and stuff like that, to see how much money we're wasting in our district and how much money we could be saving and giving back from our trips or more events or anything that could be given back to our community. So that's why we try to focus on not things like really outside of our house or anything like that. It's all the things that we measured are in our school. So you can see some examples would be like a microwave or a vending machine. And a lot of times we think that just because something is off that we're not like wasting energy, and that's not true. The best way for us to save money is to unplug it. And those are some of the examples that we have in our school that if we unplug, that we could give back to our community, and that we'd be saving money because yearly it's a lot of money that we are wasting. Next slide, please.
So this is our campaign our group members made. We would obviously show the information to the community, and then we would spread it across our school to make them aware of the amount of energy we're wasting and help with the support for the campaign. And we will also like post it on social media and go to like other schools in the area to make them aware, and obviously take it to you guys because you guys are our biggest supporters.
So some of our recommendations for the school and some things that I feel like we should keep in mind. To unplug our chargers, that could save us money, so it would be easier than just turning it off. It would help us. Use smart timers. I feel like that could also help us. Power strip shutdown and reduce overnight use. So I feel all these steps, if we took it shouldn't take us that long to take it, and it can help us save money and give back. So all that money is not gonna like go to waste. We always say, you know, we want like our kids to have better education, but a lot of times like the money that's wasted on other things could be used for kids and like devices. Because a lot of like our students, our devices are like broken and stuff like that, and it affects how much like work we can get done, and it affects our grades, and those are some steps we could take to help our kids. Next slide, please. So thank you so much for listening to us. We really hope that you take this information and that you take some steps, whether it's in school or home, to save money and just unplug the device. If you have time to turn it off, you probably have time to unplug it. So it will just help us out. It will help everyone out. And why not, save a little bit of money just by unplugging something? So we hope you listen to it and you like take the steps to actually do it and not just listen to it. So thank you so much.
Dr. Strickland, I know you want to provide some context, and then I'll have the board, if they have any questions or comments, and I'll let them do that. Thank you.
Yes, absolutely. The students that were before you participated in the 3rd annual NYPA Empowered Summit. That's the New York State, or the New York Power Authority. And when I got to Denzel Washington School of the Arts, I was like going to different schools, and people, I had just literally missed them. And 2 of our staff members came out and said, they did awesome. So I said, let's make this board meeting about the students and bring them to present what they presented to the other schools in Westchester County. They can present it to our community. And I am very thankful and grateful that they came tonight. I'm thankful for their teacher, Dr. Deglio, for dedication to helping our young ladies do these or carry out these projects, but more importantly, being a great educator to the students of Mount Vernon and Denzel Washington. And then finally, for the first time ever, and we've been doing a lot of first time evers, these young ladies will be presenting on Saturday at the White Plains High School Westchester Civics Fair in front of all of the other students. I will certainly be there to support you and cheer you on, and I can't wait for you to rock the house down, especially in White Plains. But thank you for presenting. And yes, we are looking into the phantom situation, looking at energy projects. I'm just letting you know. So.
It's always fabulous to hear from our students. At this time, we are going to hear a presentation from Mr. Joe Lynn, our district treasurer. It is going to be a financial FAQ presentation, and that will be right after. But before we do that, I'd like for the board members, you're leaving already? I think the board members would like to just say a couple of words to you and congratulate you on your presentation. So we have board members that would like to make a comment before our children leave. Trustee Brown.
Good evening. Ladies, I would love to give you an amazingly big round of applause. As the only one on board who is an actual engineer. Yes. Right, and trustee son. I want to say that this gives me so much joy to see you ladies doing this. It warms my heart, it makes me excited. It brings me back to when I was in high school and my science teacher was amazing. Now, I didn't go to school here in Mount Vernon, but science teachers are amazing and they really challenge and as a female, it really clicks something in your brain. And so that your science teacher is imparting such great things in you that you're gonna carry it on to college. I'm almost certain. If you're doing stuff like this, I only know sky's the limit for you ladies. And I want to congratulate your teacher for doing an amazing job. And while I dabble a little bit in science and math, you guys definitely touched on that phantom charging thing. One thing that I try to do personally is reduce my carbon footprint as much as I can. And hearing some additional things that you have like put a light bulb on in for me, I'm going to do that as soon as I get home. I promise you that my daughter will be upset if that iPad is in charge, but I'm going to figure out how to do that overnight charging thing. I may need you ladies to help me. But I just want to say thank you so much. Thank you for sharing it with our community. Thank you for turning light bulbs on for other people, not just me. I'm sure other people's light bulbs have going on. And the cost savings is amazing. As you mentioned, that rising costs definitely contribute, and I would love to get that extra $720. I could do a whole lot of things with that. But again, I want to congratulate you. Hey, that's dumb of me. But I just want to again congratulate you ladies. I am so proud. I am overjoyed as a female seeing you ladies do this. This is amazing, and your parents should be commended as well for supporting you, because it takes a village. And I am definitely cheering you ladies on, and you have my pom-poms up here shaking. So congratulations.
Thank you.
Trustee Scott, I see you grabbing the mic.
Yeah, I definitely want to say something because I'm not going to say because of trauma, because when I was in science class, I was thinking about my sports, so I really didn't pay attention. But as I matured and grew, I understood what my science teacher was telling me. And now to hear you come to us and present on what you presented, it just warmed my heart. If you come up here now, you see my thing standing up, my hair standing up. That's how excited I am about what you're sharing with us. Because in my older years, this is something I'm trying to preach to my kids in terms of plugging things out, especially when we go on vacation. Plug things out. I don't have the money to pay for all of that, right? I can save $720, right? So for you to present this, if I can get this power, well, I have power, but I'm going to share it with my kids as well as those kids in my circle so that they see the importance of what science is, understanding, and doing things and presenting. And let me just say, it's not easy to come up here and speak in front of all of these people. So just to be able to do that, ladies, you get all of mine. Right? You did a great job. Great job. And awesome job. And I may, if I go to a class. Go to a class? Okay, great. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Trustee Peterson?
So, ladies, as I was reviewing your slides of the presentation earlier today at work, I was like, oh my goodness, this is so I am, let's see, I'm the youngest up here besides the student trustee. And so I'm from the generation of when I was little, that's when like whole energy savings, save the earth, all that stuff was like really big. So one thing, the first time I learned about phantom energy, when I saw that slide, the presentation, I was like, oh my gosh, this is taking me back to like the 4th grade. When I saw the presentation about the insulation, I was like, this is my mom growing up saying, put a sweater on, turn the heat down. So it was, when I saw this, I was just like, here we are, 30 years later, and it's still a concern. And to see you young ladies, and I saw the pictures you guys were in the lab with your headphones on, getting to work. I didn't see the phone looked a little burnt, but that's okay. And I was just wondering, I said, look at you ladies, and like there were people were still like a young women too. And I said, look at these young ladies. Oh no, okay, good, they're all sisters. I said, rewind. I said, look at these young ladies in this lab doing your thing. I was so proud. And I am a person, I do turn off, I do unplug, and it's important. And insulation is important. And I'm so proud of you ladies. And I couldn't wait till you guys did your presentation today. Love the roses on the slide as well, very nice. So just congratulations ladies, keep on going. We need more female scientists, especially of color. Shout out to your teacher, she did her thing. I am so proud of you ladies.
Trustee Middleton.
The old one, but I want to say kudos to our future scientists, and this is why we got to pass this budget. So God bless you in your future endeavors. You did an excellent job, and might I say, I love the color code, everything it just gelled together, and I identify with unplugging and turning it off. I'm like y'all. But y'all are younger, and I just want to say kudos to you. You did just an outstanding job in your presentation. And it does take guts to come up here and speak like you did. But y'all act like y'all are pros at it. And you did an awesome job. So listen, keep doing what you're doing, doctors. All right? Keep doing what you're doing. So I applaud you today.
All right. Trustee Adoro and then Trustee McDonald.
Well, I'll say this, the slides were amazing. As a student trustee, and actually as a student, which is made clear already, the youngest one here. And to say this to Trustee Scott, you're talking about goosebumps. It's like, yeah, I definitely got that. First of all, I want to say I'm very happy as a person, as an advocate. Not on the science side, I'm an engineering student that's going to University of Alabama, but I'm going to say this. It takes a lot of guts to go up there and just, say what you need to say and what needs to be heard. So I want to say thank you for doing that, okay? And never let the light go out, I'll just say that. So honestly, I'm just going to keep it brief. Thank you very much. And I love the slides. Honestly, the rose water I should touch.
Trustee McDonald.
Thanks. Great stuff. A couple thoughts, challenges for you guys. The insulation heat loss project. What I thought when you got to the savings slide, $720 a year. The next step I would challenge you is to think of how long will it take me to recoup that money back, because I have to install this and there's going to be a cost. So I would model out for, let's say, a 2,000 square foot house, how much would it cost to insulate that house, and then when's the break-even point? How long will it take me to recoup that money, and then you get the profit. So kudos to you. I would take that next math step and figure that out. I think that would be cool. As far as the phantom energy one, that's a trickier one. I immediately thought it's a great idea. I'm never going to do it. And the reason why is habit change is very, very difficult. And I've spent a lifetime not unplugging things, unless there was a very particular reason. So for you guys, there are two things you could consider. One, innovate, all right? Either innovate, how do you get people to change their behavior? How do you pair unplugging with something else that's going to happen to rebuild that habit? That's sort of a behavior change piece. Or innovate around, maybe there's some way to redesign that it automatically unplugs. You can put something on there, put a timer on, it pops it out, it plugs it back in. But just things like that, because this can have huge effects if you take the entire country of people like me who are too lazy to bend over and do that because they haven't done it so long. It can have real meaningful impact. So good for you guys for doing this great stuff. Keep thinking.
Thank you.
Vice President Mitchell.
All right, so I'm going to start off by saying girl power, right? Let me say that. And I'm going to shout out Dr. D, because Dr. D may not remember, but she taught my babies, okay? And I'm talking about my ones that graduated about 4 years ago. So this is not new. She's been doing this, and these children have been loving Dr. D for years. So if you hear me say for all these years that we do have the best and brightest, and we want to talk about budgets, we want to keep the best and brightest here. I'm not going to say the word budget again right now, But I keep my PS5 stays on all night on standby because my Call of Duty got to update. I need, listen, all right, I need my skins, I need my Call of Duty dollars, I keep the phones charged. I got people in my house that's scary, they don't walk through the house during the night because it's dark. I got to keep the microwave light on, it get on my nerves. But I'm going to say this. I've been chasing, I remember when the stickers went on the light, remember the light switches in school? It said, conserve, turn off the lights. Some of y'all might still see those stickers in your buildings. But I'm gonna say this, Denzel Washington y'all come from Denzel Washington to do this presentation. Remember, Denzel Washington is almost synonymously only known for performing arts, singing, dance, theatrical. You guys just turn the light on to anybody that pigeonholed Denzel Washington as just that. Y'all had jokes and things like that on the mic. Y'all act like y'all did this for a long time. I love it. I loved every bit of it. But what you did, and what I really love about it is you really turn the light on and let everyone in this city and outside of Mount Vernon understand Denzel Washington is not just about singing and dancing. It's about so much more. So thank you so much. Thank you to your teacher, Dr. D, as always. And continue. We'd love to see more of these type of presentations here so that we can truly see. Because we keep hearing, oh, nobody's graduating, there's nothing happening, the school district doesn't have anything, and there's nothing happening. But yet, here it is. So you just did so many different things today. So thank you for showing up. I appreciate you.
And I'd like to echo all of the comments here on the board. We want to say thank you so very much for, number one, sharing it with us. And I, for one, learned a few things. I used to think that just my grandmother and my mom was telling me that when the storm comes, you got to unplug everything. I just thought they were telling me that because they wanted to turn the lights on. They wanted us to be bored. But I want to say thank you. I learned a lot tonight. And I'm not even going to be mad at my grandchildren for not plugging their phones in at night and charging them and waiting till in the morning. So thank you so very much. And you are to be commended. I thank your teacher. And it just shows that our students are doing amazing things each and every day. And I just want to say thank you for sharing that with us today. Thank you. I didn't mean to hold you hostage, but we wanted you to hear how proud we were of you.
Thank you. Thank you.
If you need to go and do your homework, we'll let you go now. Regents tomorrow. Oh my God, I remember
I
that.
already took all my regions.
All right.
Good night, everybody.
Good night. I'm sorry, Jolene. We will now have a Board of Education. I said this 3 times already. I guess we were probably excited about a lot of things tonight. We will have a FAQ presentation by Mr. Jolin, but before we do that, I would like to say that to everyone that we are fully aware of the intense emotion and the rumors on social media and the frustration surrounding this budget cycle. As we approach the school budget vote on Tuesday, June 16th, this board has a responsibility to clearly communicate the exact choices facing our community. Following the vote on May 19th, this board listened to the community's feedback. Our administrative team literally worked around the clock to find internal compromises that protect our children's daily school experience. By identifying efficiency in district overtime and capturing newly finalized New York State Foundation aid, we were able to reduce the proposed property tax levy increase to 1.5%. We were intentional in trying to protect the vital programs that keep our children safe, engaged, and inspired. This revised budget completely saves our sports teams, our music and art programs, our after-school clubs and extracurricular activities, and our expansion of career and technical education pathways at the high school and our gifted and talented programs. We have a shared duty to understand what happens if this budget does not pass on Tuesday, June 16th. Under New York State contingency laws, the district will be forced into a zero tax cap, requiring an immediate devastating $4 million budget cut from our operations. Because fixed administrative and state mandates are legally protected, such as our fixed obligations with special education mandates, rising charter school tuition costs. A contingency budget will force us to cut the very things that make our school a vibrant place for our children. It will mean the total elimination of all varsity, JV, and modified athletics. We will have to cancel all after-school enrichment and summer programs. We will have to cut our staff, causing class sizes to rise, and we will have to lock our playgrounds, our pool, and fields to the community. Not because the state mandates it, but because we are so close to the edge that we don't have any other choice. It also means that it will be a hefty rental fee for those community organizations that would like to use our facilities. The vote presents two vastly different pathways for the future of Mount Vernon's children and will impact the quality of life for our families and our children across this city. The choice is yours, Mount Vernon. We are asking you to show up on Tuesday, June 16th and show our children that you care about their future. Are there any board members that would like to speak at this time? Then I will wait for the FAQs and then I will ask each board member to share their thoughts. Thank you.
Good evening, trustees and Mount Vernon. You guys put me in a tough position here following those two presentations. You know, I'm just hoping I don't put you guys to sleep with all the numbers. All right. You know, I joined in February, and I have made a commitment to really look at finances and communicate with as much transparency and accountability as I can to the community and to the board. In doing so, I am listening to the community, and this FAQ is sort of the response to try to help present information that I think will help the community understand the finances and get a clearer picture of what everything that's going on. So the first FAQ is, did the school district save $17 million from the closures of 3 school buildings? Next slide. So the answer to that is no. The school district did not save $17 million in annual actual recurring costs from closing Columbus Homes and Parker Elementary Schools. The total operating costs, including compensations for staff and teachers, is $17.3 million for those 3 buildings. When a building is closed, not all the costs are eliminated. The savings that we actually would realize or approximate is closer to $6.8 million. I will walk you through the numbers a little later in a later slide. When we look at the 2024-25 budget, we were actually over our adopted budget by $5.7 million. So when you look at the approximate savings from the school closures, it almost offsets the over budget from the previous year. Next slide. So when the buildings are closed, the students do not go away. They are reallocated into other buildings, and the teachers and many of the costs follow those students. When we close the buildings, some of the teachers and staff were moved, but there were others that may have left, some in fear of layoffs, others retirement. Not all the teachers were necessarily always replaced. So there was a lot of shifting that was going on. Some building costs remained in terms of keeping the lights on, making sure that the buildings remain safe. So I wanted to present to you in the next slide how we got to the $6.8 million. So when I looked at the 24-25 budget, we saw that there was $368,000 in building operations across those 3 buildings. And there was $16.9 million in compensation for staff and teachers. It would be unrealistic for us to assume that, in compensation benefits, it would be unreasonable for us to assume that that entire amount would be saved because these costs have fallen to students to other buildings. So when it comes to building operations, because we're keeping the lights on, if we make an assumption that 80% of the costs would go away, we would have a savings of $294,742. Then we look at the compensation and benefits. There are two groupings. One is building-specific staff. These are members that are tied to that building, and there we can assume 100% savings, as those staff are no longer needed for those buildings. And there we saw that the compensation and benefits combined for $3.9 million. Then we have enrollment-dependent staff. This is your teachers, your TAs, your counselors, right? And these staff account for $12.979 million. And there, we have to assume a large portion of the staff will remain as they follow the students to the buildings, and we assume a savings of 20%. Added up, that's $6.796 million that would be estimated as savings. This is a realistic look at how we would estimate savings when we talk about the building closure. We did this estimation as a way to demonstrate to you guys how the real numbers play out. We used actual budget numbers for this. And I just wanted to state that we're committed to clear, accurate, and transparent financial reporting as best as we can. There was also a lot of conversation in the community around the back tax payments from the city of Mount Vernon. I wanted to address that. So did the city of Mount Vernon complete its payment of the back taxes agreement for the 2018, 2019, and 2019-2020 school years? The answer to that is yes. That agreement has been paid in full. That agreement constituted of two primary components: $11.734 million in back taxes and fees, and $2.112 million in interest. Combined, that was $13.846 million. The payment started in 2023 with a $3.5 million payment up front, then moved forward with $350K in principal. Then later, in May of 2024, they started paying $100K in additional interest. That is actually where the $450K number comes from, is the combined interest and principal payments. In the next slide, when that agreement was paid in full, the business office went back and we did a reconciliation to look at every single check that we received from the city to confirm that we indeed received those funds and they were accounted for in our bank accounts. What I have here in front of you is a list of all the dates for which we deposited the money that we received from the city. As you can see, the total adds up to $13.846 million. So every penny was accounted for. So again, I just wanted to, on the right-hand side, you'll see a further breakdown of how the payment structure sort of occurred over the multiple years it was paid out. The last payment that was received was in September of 2025, and that was deposited in October. Okay. I want to also note that a future FAQ will be coming that outlines the other years of outstanding, there's a work in progress with the city to come to an agreement on future payments of other years for which there are back taxes we are to receive. There was also some confusion in the community around a April 7th, 2026 agenda item that I put in front of the board to do budget transfers of $26 million. So was the board given advance notice of the April 7th, 2026 agenda item to suspend work session rules and of the $26 million transfer package? I think Dr. Marable explained what suspension of work session rules is, so I won't go through that in detail. But on April 6th, I did provide the board with a detailed package that outlined the different transfers. So we did give the board advance notice of the transfer that is coming. This is a proposal for budget transfers, so the budget transfers had not happened at this point. This is a proposal to get authorization to do the budget transfers. The full package was $26.2 million. The board, the public agenda shows that there is a summary, full details that were provided in the attached documents. Then later on in April 28, after we had completed the actual budget transfers, I came back to the board and presented again in detail what the results of all the transfers were. It's important to note that the budget, total budget after the transfers was exactly the same before and after the transfers. What we did with these budget transfers was to address the accounts so that they reflected our actual operations. So in the next slide, you'll see that what some of the things we addressed. There were movements of money, $96K, so that we can provide consultants for special needs. This was a needed move because the programs for special needs is federally required for us to provide. So we needed to move funds into the right accounts so that they can actually pay for those services. We also wanted to align our operations with the adopted budget and eliminate negative account balances. One of the things that happens as you go through the year is you're spending money out of accounts. So if we're not moving the budget, that will be reflected as negative if we're not making the budget reflect actual operations. So these moves address that. The total movement that I ended up doing, because what happens often is you put a plan together, and by the time you execute the plan, the numbers have changed. This is one of the reasons in transparency, I wanted to come back to the board with the details of what I actually did. So since the numbers changed, some of the transfers are going to be a little bit different. But as you can see, we did not move beyond the authorized amount that the board authorized me to move. So we authorized $26.2 million, but I moved $25.6 million because the numbers had changed a little bit. Next, FAQ, please. There is also confusion about a prior presentation I made, a financial state reports presentation. So the question is, does the district have a $14.8 million net positive position for the current school year? Next slide. So the answer to that is no. We don't have a $14.8 million net positive position. So I pulled in some numbers from that last presentation. One, I noticed that in the community there was conversation about a gap of $1.237 million. In my previous reporting, I was focused on presenting to the board a clear picture of our actual spend, so money we've actually written checks out for, our planned spend, which is stuff that is sitting in a purchase order that we've allocated to spend, and then what is left that we can available for us to plan and spend. In between, there is money that is held for what is requested spend. Generally, this is not planned yet, and the numbers can shift significantly. I did not include that number, but I'll be more than happy to include that number in future reports so that the community can have a complete picture going forward. The 14.8 million is incorrect because it includes the requested spend. So the actual available funds at that time is really still 13.56 million. Now, that ultimately is not our net position for the full school year. Remember, that was a report on where we stood in the month of April. Though there are expenses that will be coming in the months of May and in the month of June. In particular, some major expenses that will be coming in is interest payments for our CAN loan that is coming up. And for certain staff, they get a balloon payment in June that is greater than what they normally get. So we have a big, what we call a balloon payment of compensation that happens in June. So when that is all taken in, this number will dramatically decrease. So, for example, you will see later in the next, in the sort of work business session coming up, I will be presenting the financial reports again. What I can tell you right now is the available funds have declined to 10 million, right? And that's just 1 month. So, in short, the answer to that is that 14.8 million is not our final net position. We will not know for certainty what that final net position is until after we close the books in June, after June. Okay. The next question. Will the district exceed the 4% fund balance cap at the end of the school year? So, next slide. The answer to that one is also no. We won't. And to provide you with the answers, we actually looked at this from the from the proposed budget as well as the contingent budget. So at 4%, the proposed budget would have a $11 million cap, and the contingent budget would have a $10.9 million cap. In both cases, this is significantly higher than what we think the final position. Right now, we believe we will be under $6 million in fund balance at the end of the year. Next question. Why was there a second vote on the budget? The budget must be approved by the voters to take effect. When the first budget proposal was not approved, the district, by law, has two options. One, to present the same budget again, or revise the budget based on the feedback. So in this case, we chose to take the feedback from the community and revise the budget. That then needs to be put in front of the voters so that the budget can be adopted. If it is not adopted, the contingent budget is then in effect. What happens when the second budget vote results in a no vote? Well, the district adopts the contingent budget or the backup budget, and the tax levy is limited, cannot be higher than last year. I think the lawyer spoke about this. And then there are severe restrictions on our spending. and non-essential purchases are where it is heavily restricted. The budget cannot go back to the voters for a third time. How does a contingency budget impact the Mount Vernon community? Well, there's a $2.8 million gap between the proposed budget and the contingency budget, which means the superintendent and the district has to find the ways to close that gap. The priority is always in a contingent budget to classroom instruction, student services, safety, and legal obligations. Athletics is one of the ones that can be looked at to be eliminated because of the restrictions on spending. There are not a lot of options for which we can close that gap. So oftentimes you are forced into making decisions around which programs to keep and which programs to eliminate. Career and technology education expansion is paused, and a 5% staffing reduction happens. These potential impacts based on the current cost structure and legal requirements are then approved by the board as part of the budgeting process.
Before you move forward, can we change the microphones out? Because I see that one seems like it's selling out tonight. Then you'll wear it out.
It might have just not worked.
Thank you.
Does anybody have any questions?
Okay, I'm gonna ask Dr. Strickland if he could clarify some of the comments that were made during the presentation, and then I'll ask the board members to comment.
So first and foremost, gentlemen, thank you for your presentation of some of the myths that are out there in public. There's a few other things that I want to rectify that may have been sort of glossed over. So again, on one of the slides, Mr. Lynn said we started with a deficit budget of $5.7 billion this year. I want to repeat that. We started with a deficit of $5.7 million this year. In a sense, that sort of almost wipes out the cost that we could have saved from closing the buildings. Next, I have been doing my research, and this is the first year we've been bringing financial reports in the board meetings, trying to be as transparent as can be. I watched the board meetings prior to coming here and know this doesn't go against like people before and after. I don't get involved in that. I'm about children. But I was trying to look and see if financial reports were presented, and I did not see it. Next, there was no agreement with the city because we only went based off of the litigation from when the school district sued the city of Mount Vernon to get the back taxes. When the money stopped flowing, I realized, oh my goodness, we don't have a process in place. We need to put a process in place to ensure that this does not happen. They need to continue to pay. We are finally at the end of the road of get one, clarifying what the city will do, what the district will do. And those payments will likely resume beginning in July. And they will not end because we have a memorandum of understanding that explains the process going forward so that we are not in the predicament that I inherited again. Next, budget transfers are normal. Just want you to all know that. Negative budget lines become normal. In fact, the previous business official, Mr. Formoso, Mr. Ramondi, they actually had thousands of lines they had to rectify when I got here. That had to happen when I started. We even presented it to the board, I remember, in August, and it was told to me, we are not doing this until we actually know exactly what is done. Mr. Lynn has presented to them exactly what needs to happen, and we had to make those transfers. In addition, the cost for special education services skyrocketed. Why? Because it is very difficult to recruit qualified staff members for our district. Therefore, we have to use outside consultants that can charge us an exuberant amount of money that we have to legally pay, which again results in moving funds from one place to the next. Next, and then I just want to clarify, and Mr. Lynn clarified, there are services that are mandated under contingency. There are other services that are not mandated. I don't want people thinking, dangling a carrot saying you're going to lose this. Of course, I'm going to be strategic in making sure that we are trying to provide the best school system that we could under a contingency possible. I want that to be very clear. So when we say cuts to athletics, yes, that's a large chunk of money. That's over $1 million. I would be able to close the gap rather quickly. You know what I mean? I don't want to do that. Absolutely not. Gifted and talented, $800,000. If you look at the budget book, it's on the website, you will see the actuals that we put in that budget book, which I haven't seen in previous ones. So those are just some of the things that are not mandated that would have to be touched or would have to be considered. All right? My team and I would definitely try our best to save all of it, because I'm gonna find a way. I don't want to eliminate any teachers. Remember, our staff looks inflated because the number of students with disabilities and English language learners must be serviced by more teachers. If I am a student with a disability, there could be 3 teachers that work with me during the day. That means that there are more teachers that need to be in the system. If I am an English language learner, there are multiple teachers that work with those students every single day, which means the staffing is not leveling out like we want it, because those vulnerable populations continue to rise in our district. So I just want to make things very, very clear, because I don't know where things are coming from. Just to clarify, President Marble, you said $4 million, it was 2.8, but the $4 million came from, first, the conservative budgeting that we did when we only said we were going to get 1% in foundational aid. The state budget had not yet passed yet. The budget was voted down. Then the state budget was passed the next day. It came in at 2%, which if we would have had to go contingency, it would have been $4 million, but now it would be $2.8 million. So just wanted to clarify that. I know that was a very honest mistake. And then finally, all of these FAQs are available on board docs and the budget website. And you might even find them on the socials. Actually, they are on Facebook. They are on Instagram. They are on, I think that's those 2. But feel free to continue to ask questions. We will continue to pull out the FAQs so that we are transparent. There's nothing to hide.
Yeah.
Nothing to hide.
Yeah, I will be continuing to publish more FAQs as we move forward. One of the things I'm doing is before we publish the FAQs, we go back and look at data to make sure that we're providing as accurate of information as we can.
Thank you so much, Jolene. Are there any questions from the board members of Mr. Jolene? Okay, thank you. That was very comprehensive. We appreciate it. As we glean through some of the questions, if you have additional questions, we will address them through our district clerk. I'm going to ask the trustees if they have any comments based on some of the presentations we've heard tonight, and then we will open up for public comment after that. Trustee McDonough?
Thank you. Yeah, I'll start. So I wanted to take stock of some of the instability that the district has faced, particularly in finances and overall in leadership over the last few years. So this is what I came up with. Superintendents. Dr. Strickland is the fourth superintendent in the last 4 years. Okay. Assistant superintendents for business. Dr. Valenti, who is our interim, is the fifth in 5 years. Treasurer. Before Jolene coming on board a few months ago, there was really no stability at all. We were contracting out for years for the treasurer. This is an interesting one. Board trustees, right? And by my count, in the last 5 years, 5 elected trustees resigned before the end of their term. This is a lot of key personnel in leadership positions turning over rapidly. That invites problems. That invites a lack of internal controls over your finances. A lack of internal controls increases the possibility of misstatements about the district's financial position, and it increases the risk of negative audit findings, like material financial weaknesses. I wanted to there's a lot, if people are interested and you go on the website, you can see audits, but I wanted to just point out a couple examples of the types of significant problems that this level of instability among key leaders in the district can create. This was a material weakness found in the 2022 budget. $8.4 million in checks sent to the district from BOCES were never located and not recorded as revenue in the books and records. $8.4 million. 2024, due to inadequate record keeping throughout the year and budget practices, the district used unassigned fund balance that it did not have to balance the budget. This resulted in a deficit unassigned fund balance of $5 million. They assigned money that we did not have to close a budget gap of $5 million. That's a significant problem. 2025, this was not a finding, but it's come up, so I'll touch on it. This was in a letter that was put up with the audit documents in October. Unexplained adjustments to the tax warrants. We met with the auditors about this, and I asked why this was not included in the audit findings as a material weakness. And the auditors said the reason is because the total amount didn't reach a significant threshold. It was about $30 or $40 million. Obviously, it's still a problem, but it didn't rise to the level of a material weakness. I've talked about this before, and I made a video about that particular problem of tracking tax warrants when you have, particularly from the past, given the challenges of everything I just noted, and the city of Mount Vernon and our school district both working on those same tax warrants. Again, invites problems. I want to just talk briefly about the fiscal stress monitoring system, because everybody knows that we are on the top of that list. I wanted to just break it down a little bit more. You can find all the information. All this information is findable. It's a little bit complicated. And let me just say, I'm sorry that school finance is complicated. It's been said that people shouldn't have to dig in, that it should be sort of handed to them, spoon-fed to them. I reject that. I think being a good citizen entails digging in. I would be curious to know if people spend less time on what I call anti-social media. They cut down on that a couple of hours a day and instead committed to reading audits and understanding the Office of State Control of Financial Stress System, and then came here with well-informed questions. What we would get to, I think we could get to a lot if we did that. So just a little bit about the financial stress monitoring system. There are two components. There are fiscal indicators. And this is important. There are really four primary ones. Your fund balance, the health of your fund balance. Well, we know we decimated our fund balance. As I just pointed out, we went into a negative $5 million in 2024, right? Net below zero. That's not good. So that's a bad financial indicator. The cash position, right? How much cash do we have? And this, one of the things about Joe Lynn, he's presenting often cash reports. A treasury report is a report of your short-term cash, money you have in the bank. That's part of your assets, but your net position is very, very different. It's a very different thing, okay? So it's important to keep that in mind. Our cash position has been difficult, which has resulted in short-term borrowing, tax anticipation notes, which we've used the last 2 years. When we submit our audited financial statement to the state, the New York State Controller is looking at these positions that we're in, and it's contributing to our stress indicator. The other piece that is relatively new, it's been around for just a couple of years, these are called environmental factors. Among the environmental factors are the percentage of students classified as economically disadvantaged. If you have a high percentage of students classified as economically disadvantaged, that can be an environmental factor that's outside of your control that can contribute to your overall stress. In addition, the percentage of English language learners in your school district. If you have a high percentage of English language learners, that can contribute to the stress in your district. These are special groups that require special instruction, much more attention to get what they really deserve from the system. Other factors, teacher turnover, and this is interesting, budget vote approval rate. They look at the times that the budget that's put before your taxpayers is voted down. And I think over a 5-year cycle, if it's voted down twice, that's going to increase your stress level. So these are, you can go into much more detail. You can look at the specifics if you want. Financially, since 2022, we have had the highest stress level rating. In the last 2 years, we've had the highest in the state. 24 and 25, we were the highest. In fact, 2025 was our highest to date. Environmental factors, which is relatively new, we were rated as moderate, which also is the highest in the state, okay? So the bottom line for me here is that the financial results in this school district from 2022 through 2025 are predictable, right? If you told everybody what I said up front and asked someone with some financial knowledge, what would you predict the results in your district would look like? They would look like this. But we're trying to change that, okay? All of the information that you're hearing out there on anti-social media does not include what's going on this year. It's all from the past, right? Dr. Strickland and his team were put in place in July, just shy of a year. You would think that all of the problems in this school district happened now, were the result of the last few months. It simply isn't true.
Not at all.
Okay, so this year we have a new team, and that includes a fantastic New York State monitor. Let me just say that these are circumstances that entail additional work from all of the individuals sitting up here and all the individuals sitting in front of you. It is a lot of work. Under good conditions, without all of these complicated factors, being a volunteer in a school district is not easy work.
Amen.
It requires you to learn new things and get along with people with diverse ideas about the world sometimes. When you have situations like this, it just compounds that. It's difficult for me to explain exactly how much time, and maybe I'll write it all down. An enormous amount of time goes into this. So I guess what I would say, I've got one other issue, but let me just close on this and just say that I encourage people to ask questions. Skepticism is really my stock in trade. I subscribe to the Skeptical Inquirer. I live in skepticism, okay? So ask questions, right? But please don't be unkind. Don't be mean-spirited, because we're really all in this together. We all live here together. We all want the best for each other, I think, and for our children. And when people are just unkind and mean-spirited, it makes a hard job harder, needlessly harder. So one other thing I want to touch on, and then I'm gonna step back here. There was an issue brought up of overpayments to administrators that had occurred, and I think was discovered back in 2023. That issue was reported to the New York State Office of State Controller well over a year ago. The New York State Office of State Controller is in the school district now doing an audit. If people have questions about why this issue was not investigated in 2023, then you should go and talk to the people who were here in 2023, the leadership at the time, and ask them why they didn't do it. But for my part, I'm going to wait and hear what the Office of State Controller has to say. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much for that thoughtful comment. Trustee Brown?
I have a lot, so just bear with me, please. So the Mount Vernon City School District completed a buildings condition survey and a 5-year capital plan November 2023. This is the most comprehensive and recent. I apologize. All right, so kind of here. Buildings, health and safety, all of the things. So the Mount Vernon City School District completed a buildings condition survey and a 5-year capital plan, November 2023. This is the most comprehensive and recent public buildings condition report for the district's facilities. Here's a summary. 15 total buildings, 3 high schools, 10 elementary, 2 support buildings. Average building age, 74 years. The district has an aging building portfolio with mold facilities several decades old, thus driving significant maintenance and capital needs. The needs of all the buildings are on a continuous, almost daily basis in a state of repair. The oldest being built in 1896, making it 130 years old. The buildings condition survey is required by New York State Education Department every 5 years. Our current survey is set to expire in November 2028. With the rising costs in all markets, the district's budget is barely meeting the needs just to put a Band-Aid on our infrastructure. The district faces hundreds of millions of dollars in deficiencies, including urgent safety concerns and major deferred maintenance. There are different categories that are outlined. Category A, highest priority, approximately $90 million, which must be addressed quickly. Life safety, intermediate, fire protection systems, structural hazards, code violations, health and safety, air quality, water systems, conditions causing injury or illness, infrastructure, roofs, facades, windows, mechanical, electrical, plumbing systems. Category B, deferred or long-term, approximately $233 million. Code upgrades, aging system replacements, program improvements and modernizations. All the Category Bs will turn into Category As, and note, the Category Bs are not included in the current budget. They are important but not immediate dangerous. Some types that have been identified included structural elements, roofs and exterior building envelopes, HVACs, heating, ventilation, air conditioning, electrical systems, plumbing and fire protection, security systems, site conditions, grounds, drainage. Typical issues in the district on Mount Vernon include aging boilers and HVAC systems, roof leaks and facade deterioration, outdated electrical capacity, code compliance gaps, ADA, fire, energy. We just had an amazing presentation about energy today. Maintenance gap insight, industry standards 2 to 5% of building value annually for maintenance. The largest backlog suggests years of underinvestment or deferred maintenance. Let me repeat that again. The large backlog suggests years of underinvestment or deferred maintenance. If the budget revote doesn't pass, then the district will face insurmountable challenges trying to maintain our infrastructure that is failing. What's at stake? Our maintenance projects, upgrades, and grounds. Please note, the prior administration was brazenly lacking in transparency, which has landed us here. The district now has an administration that is opening all the doors in public views. Thank you.
Thank you, Trustee Brown. Trustee Peterson?
So, one thing before I ran for trustee, like I have said several times that I do my research. And before I ran this in 2025, I watched 5 years of board meetings. 5 years of board meetings, I watched every single public comment. I watched it from beginning to end. And one thing I noticed this sudden selective outrage now. I have went through the district's audits year after year over the past 5-6 years, anything that's available online. And I think back to the findings from those audits, and I think back to all those board meetings, and I did not see, and I did see a couple of myself there complaining about this, I did not see anyone come to that microphone and complain about what was being done. This district has been designated significantly in fiscal distress from the New York State Comptroller since 2019, year after year after year. But I did not see one person come to that microphone and complain. Not one person. So this sudden selective outrage that's going on now, when we are just asking for a measly 1.5% for our children, for my children, zoom in, for my children, this outrage is unacceptable because everywhere else invests in their children, and they don't have a problem with investing in their children because they know the outcome, what the outcomes are when you invest in your children. Selective outrage is easy. Showing up year after year, attending meetings, reading audits, reviewing budgets, asking tough questions, and holding leadership accountable no matter who is in charge. That's the hard part. Some people who are now the loudest voices in the room were nowhere to be found when reserves were being drained, where our fund balance literally went down $18 million in 4 years. No one came to that mic and spoke up about it. Financial warning signs were flashing, glaring. No one came up to that microphone or sat on social media to complain. Audit findings were piling up, and decisions were being made that contributed to the challenges we face today. These challenges did not just get here from July 1st of 2025. They've been here for years, and no one has spoke up. Everyone has a right to an opinion, and everyone has a right to vote. But accountability should not begin only when it's politically convenient. If we're going to have honest conversations about the future of our schools, we must also be honest about the past. We must be honest. The children did not create these financial problems. The current teachers, students, and families shouldn't be punished because previous leaders failed to address them. Fixing years of financial mismanagement is difficult work, and this is free work that we do. This is volunteer work. We're not sitting at home for hours researching things about this district. It's all for free. We don't do this, we don't get paid. This is volunteer work. And it shows you the passion that we have as volunteers. If you put that same amount of passion that we have volunteering for the children in this district into helping us, because like Trustee McDonough said, this is a community, we all live here. Outrage is easy. Responsibility and holding people accountable, I see, is extremely hard at times. And so we need to have a take a very hard look inside of ourselves. We have to take a hard look and say, is 1.5% worth being disrespectful, being unkind, putting down people for no reason? Is it really worth that? Making up lies, putting up disinformation? Is it worth it? Is it really worth it? And if you're going to sit out there and suddenly now be concerned about the district, then you better come show me some proof. I want to see, because I saw the meetings where I spoke up and attended. I can't find the meetings where some of y'all spoke up and attended.
Thank you, Trustee Peterson. Trustee Middleton? I just want to say, I just commend you, Trustee Middleton, for pushing through your grief and your pain for your family and being here, because we know your commitment to children, and it proves it by you sitting here today. Even though your family is hurting, you knew that it was important enough you show up here tonight. So I just want to say thank you.
Thank you too for that. I just want to say that I'm born and raised in Mount Vernon, and I used to sit where many staff members sat at the school council, etc., prior to becoming that, having all the questions that I did read the board when I listened and did not understand and get full and complete answers. But the same people that sat here when I finally did run, because I wanted to be on the inside of the inside, which is like the holy of holies, but not. And so until you're really on the inside, you don't really have facts. You think you do, but you don't, okay? People will take numbers and make them appear to be what they really are not. And so I told you I sat in the interest meetings, and I'm sorry if I got whatever I was today. I'm not sorry in a way that I'm really apologizing, because I'm not being apologetic about the crap that's on social media, the lies that's on social media. And I want to say, whoever you are that think that you wanted to bring me and Mr. Mitchell to being in front of, to get votes, come on, you can't be better than that. Then y'all need to sit down, do something more constructive. Besides, because when you do this, you put the children down. Okay? So there's vision versus division. We got a new superintendent. You've not even given him the opportunity yet to prove himself with a budget that needs to be passed for these children that need more than they haven't had in 2000 and what? 16, 17, 18, president, vice president, president, vice president, president, vice president, and look at where we are. Look at where we are. I think that y'all got this wrong. So for me to have come my first 2 years on this board, and I gotta really speak from my heart, I seen the vision, not vision. And for the 2 years that I was on this board, and I love what you said tonight, Mr. McDonough, you preached the sermon. You wrapped it all up. You did everything that needed to be said. It wasn't because of now, but it was because before now. Okay, so let's not get it twisted. And in church, as they say, look at somebody and say, don't get it twisted. And for 2 years, every single meeting, I'm telling you, before even while I was running, I was getting beat up. And didn't even understand why. When I got in here, I wasn't welcomed. But then I understood. And every single meeting, I didn't even understand the budget, because the budget wasn't the budget. I don't know what it was. And I'm still trying to, get to where it never was. Misappropriation of funds. Kids couldn't get what they need. Listen, I had to collect at a clergy meeting money to take kids outside of Mount Vernon. And they gave it to me. Okay? So let me tell y'all something. I got beat up. I didn't mind. You know why? Because Lynn Middleton was clear. And every single meeting, that same team that's out, and I hope you hear me tonight, because I went to school with them. And they know. And let me tell you something, every meeting I got beat up, Warren was there, every meeting, then they came on. Every single meeting. He was there. Sorry, Dwayne. But let me tell you something, I stuck to my guns because of the kids. Kids first. And so there was, what banks is money? 20 banks. You know, it's just a mess. Just a mess. And I can't even really let me tell you, so where we are now, it wasn't because of us. It was because of y'all looking in the wrong place. I think you scared. But sometimes I think you're afraid. But let me tell you, I know I hope you got this real good. Yeah, it's me. Right, so I just want to say tonight that, Doc, I appreciate your vision. We gonna make it. Yeah, we gonna make it. And I can't even say all the stuff that I really can't, because you know what, I'm thinking two things at one time. My sister, who was a part of this district, I grew up in this district. And let me tell you, y'all that don't have kids in the district, you once did, and they done moved on. So now, you don't care about the other kids now? If they even did. So, I just want to say, Doc, there's a quote that says, children are the living messages that we send to a time we will not see. And we won't be able to do that if we do not pass this budget and if we do not make sure that it's children first. So I just, listen, my heart is in the right place and I pray that change will come better than it has not. Now last year when we started, right, we was good. We might have a little bit. So the community said, you're out. We had a little bit, but now, let's see the difference. Now here we are, we get moving. And guess what? Here we go again, social media. Oh, then you come to a clergy meeting to hear us. Leave the clergy meeting and say, vote for the budget. Then I see you on the card and you say, don't vote for the budget. So which one is it? I'm confused. Which one is it? You left the clerk. Did you just come to hear what we had to say so you can take back a report? And you left saying, vote for the budget. I gotta go. Then I see you on a palm card, if you will, saying no increase. Now it's 1.5, we still got issues. Let me tell you something, let me tell you something. We reap what we sow. If it ain't coming today, it's coming, because I've seen it. You're going to scratch your head and wonder, but remember what I'm saying to you tonight. Your kids today, our kids today, your kids today. I don't care how old they are. So anyway, I'm just not gonna, I'm just feeling some kind of way. Thank you. I'm a pee. I'm a lot of emotion. Yeah, you hear me, right? But I'm telling the truth. So listen, I'm praying, and Doc, we gonna make it. Okay, because your heart is in the right place. And community, you put me here. Okay, so you did that for reasons, good reasons. And listen to me tonight. I don't care, north side, west side, south side, because guess what, the same people on the north side, I ain't seen you on the south side, I seen your signs. I ain't see you coming out schools. I ain't see you walking 3rd Street. Hear me. But you put your big old signs up, we'll never see you.
Thank you.
Oh God, okay. Anyway.
Thank you, Trustee Middleton.
Blessings.
God bless you. Trustee Scott.
Amen. I'm a 6'5". No, I can be seen.
Pull up to the mic, son.
I got you. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Amen. 6'5", and I'm very seen. I can be seen, but I'm also in many rooms where I work in stealth mode because people don't see me or don't know who I am. But one thing I can tell you is that last year I ran on a slate with 2 great women. And one of the things that we said, the truth is here. Right? We were going to make sure that we had transparency. We had communication with our community. We were going to fix the finances. And it was about our kids, our school, and our community. It wasn't about about those naysayers who want to say that we are operatives for other people. I'm not an operative for anybody except for my community. All right? So I basically want to let all of you know, you got something for me, bring it to me. And if you can't bring it to me, don't say anything about it. I just want to make that public. But let me have a kitchen table talk with my community, with my barbershops, my civic association, my churches, my parks, all the people who voted me into this great opportunity of serving my community. I know there's a strain on all of us. The strain is always going to be there because there's always something that comes that we may not forecast. But one thing I know is that the community always comes together and beats whatever is negative in front of us. And we're going to do that again on June 16th. The school district is just like a giant household. It's no different than what you do or what you talk about with your family and your friends on a daily basis of what you're going through with respect to new changes that come around. So I really want to let you know, I want to wrap it up for you. When we're in those barbershops and we're talking, when we're in those churches, in the community rooms and we're talking, I want to give you the two pictures that I need for you to pay attention to. And then sit down with your families, your friends, whoever you see as your circle, and make a decision on June 16th. As the superintendent said, we're going to be strategic with this. And we've gone around and we've shared the information with everybody. But here's the two pictures, the two paths that you need to focus on. If the budget is passed, you'll get full interscholastic athletics. That means we preserve all modified JV and varsity sports teams. If you choose not to pass the budget, 100% elimination of athletics. All sports team and athletic programs completely defunded. Choose which one you want. Active after-school clubs. If you pass the budget, we maintain all extracurricular activities, music, arts, and summer programs. If you choose not to vote for the budget, all after-school clubs, student enrichment, and activities are canceled. Choose which one you want. Protected class sizes and staffing. If you choose to vote for the budget, this maintains current full-time counseling and teaching personnel. If you choose not to vote for the budget, 5% of the workforce will be reduced. Staffing must take effect across all buildings, increasing class sizes. CTE programs. If you choose to vote for the budget, we move forward with career and technical pathways at the high school. If you choose not to vote for the budget, vocational expansion plans are immediately halted. Open community spaces, which we all utilize. If you vote for the budget, just keep school fields, tracks, and the district pool open to the public. Summer is coming. It's going to get hot. These things will be needed. If you choose not to vote for the budget, fields and pools are closed to the public unless outside. Remember what I said? Remember what I said? Unless outside groups pay full cost. Folks, we have a decision that has to be made. We made a decision last year. when we decided that we needed change on this board, and the people made that decision. You need to make the decision for our kids, for their future, for their development. Because the consequences of not making the right decision could be very impactful to our community. And if the north side cares about our community, the south side cares about our community, east side, west side, whatever side you're from, if you care about our community, you will make the right decision on June 16th. Because the alternative can be very detrimental to what we're trying to do for the betterment of our community, but most importantly, for our students. Thank you.
Thank you, Trustee Scott. Vice President Mitchell.
So,
Right.
oh, I thought you
I thought you wanted to address me.
Oh, no, I was going to make sure I was ready.
3 times.
Yeah. Okay, so I want to touch on a couple of things that were very, Trustee McDonough mentioned anti-social media. And I mentioned during public comment that I don't get on every social media. Certain types of social media are just not worthy of my input because it's intentionally toxic. It's one thing to have a great conversation back and forth with others in the social media space and in the public space. That's amazing. But when it turns into, it becomes ridiculously just a bombarding of someone, and it's actually just designed to try to silence someone because you're not in agreement with the fact that they're bringing to you what you don't want anyone else to see or hear. And what I said earlier was the truth, in that the fact that the people have been left out of the conversation for the better part of, we have board presidents sit in place from 2015 all the way out through 2025. She sat in the same position. She sat and she ran on zero tax increases. She ran on mismanagement, not letting it happen. She ran on no corruption. And yet, every audit and risk assessment we saw from the years 19 all the way through to 25 had nothing but mismanagement and high risk assessment. And when you say high risk assessment, we're talking scores of 78 and over, I think it is, 78 and over. Okay, if you look at the O'Connor-Davies reports and you look at the Tobin reports, they clearly state, if you're looking online, they clearly tell you in the beginning there's a key, and it says here's what's low, medium, and high. We kept consistently for 6 years straight high risk assessment material weaknesses in the exact same departments year after year after year, and the same woman sat in the president's seat for almost every one of those years while running on a zero tax increase, ending mismanagement of district funds, stopping corruption. Meanwhile, we saw rampant, ferocious nepotism. We had cabinet members that sat in these seats and lied to us as trustees and as the people sitting out there and folks watching, listening at home. And we sat here and we watched that same president move with no type of just whatever. We saw a superintendent, I heard your member came out and said, whatever happened to the superintendent that was sent home and we paid 2 superintendents for all those years, and whatever happened? I'm waiting too. I'd like to know also. Because it took 5 trustees to resign, as Trustee McDonough mentioned, and then all of a sudden, there's a reason to reassign this sitting superintendent. And all the charges that I saw were from years before that person's tenure as superintendent. So when you're asking yourself all of these questions online and on anti-social media, there's so much outrage, like Trustee Peterson said. And you know why? The voices and the believers are nowhere to be found until March or April. Then, all of a sudden, your email starts blowing up from spam. And people saying, hey, we're the voices and we're believing in this and that here and this is not. But where were they in October? Where were they in, I don't know, in June, when we were actually sharing information? I had someone else that sat here and said, there's no transparency and we don't have time to dig. Okay, well the presentation you just saw from Joe Lynn, we took the shovel and all the digging was done. That person didn't even hear this. Didn't hear none of it. Like I said, and so the anti-social media, those folks who are very loud, and they do have some valid questions, but it's kind of interwoven with misinformation along the way for the wrong intent. Where are they right now? You know, maybe they've got a representative or two in the room, but where are they right now? The ones that actually are saying all of these things that are clearly, that just have been debunked. May 12th, we talked about how much the city paid the school district. That was a week or so before the vote. The comptroller sat here with this gentleman in these fancy jackets, and they both sat here, and they both collaborated and gave the people exactly what they needed to. The school district and how much we were paid by the city. We even talked to from the controller what lengths that the city went through to get us more money than they had liquid. Clear the question. I asked the question clearly. They said they had $4 million in-house liquid, but they paid us 13. And I said, so you floated us $9 million? And he said, yes, we did. Now, we're talking about, once again, pinning old issues to current administration for the point of controlling the idea maker. It's about controlling the vote, and it's about controlling what people are keeping their eye on. We see this across all the politics in all of the country right now. All of it. What makes you think that it's supposed to be different here? The fact that we had more than 60% of the folks in Mount Vernon didn't come out to vote, it's just a return to an old practice. The bottom line is, when you're sitting here and you want to hear the answers, you can't go to the person down the block and ask them. You don't listen to the loud. My mother told me, my grandmother was like, you don't listen to the loudest one in the room. The one making all that noise, they're not going to do nothing, and they don't know what they're talking about. And that seems true even today. The loudest ones on social media are the ones that are, or anti-social media, that are saying the most and being the loudest, are the ones that truly have the misinformation and just pumping it out like it's real. The state monitor, amazing, our state monitor, she looks like she just got appointed here because we were hiding. No, we actually requested her. Take a look back. I was on the board. I sat next to a couple, like sat next to the same woman who was president for 9, 10 years, almost she was on the board. 13 or something like that. We requested it. We requested a search firm be brought in to bring in a new superintendent when that same board president, after she assigned her best friend to be superintendent of the school district. Oops. Right? But beside the point, we sat here and watched all of this happen. It took now. We want to attack now again. It's the same tactic. So when do we get tired? He's here. We don't even have the same amount of folks that were sitting up here before making 6 figures each and couldn't answer one question during the board meeting when asked by any one of us. And I was up here making noise and all these grandstand, here come Mitch with his mouth, talk too much. All right, but I'm asking questions because when Facebook still had comments on this dais during Facebook meetings before that was removed with no board involvement except from the president at that time who made that decision, and they removed comments from Facebook with no board involvement or conversation, and I said it, and then she tried to lie and said she called, and I said, okay, you called, and you didn't even let the phone ring twice. Don't play with me because I don't even talk to you on the phone. But that's beside the point. At a time when we were able to have public comment, I would watch public comment while I was sitting on this dais because questions were coming through from people who had valid questions, and I thought that it was important to ask those questions. So to silence the people like that was just what we gotten used to. So you have outrage from people, and they're showing it by just not showing up. If you're able to send your children to private school, that's great. Unfortunately, if you feel that you have to do that, it's one thing if you just make the choice. It's another thing if you feel you have to because your school district doesn't provide and you just don't feel confident. But for all of us that can't afford to send our children to private school, what are we doing? You're holding us responsible for the folks who were in place and allowed all of this to happen. And no one was held accountable. These folks sat in these seats and they skipped out of this district, left, they went to other districts, they did whatever, they bounced. Notice none of the faces up here are the same except Dr. Doggy, and we thankful for him. But that tells you something. It's not just about staying here because the skeletons are still hidden. It's about the fact that this man here for the babies, he's here for these children in his districts, and everybody's sitting up here for the same reason. So when we sit here and we say, just not to listen to what is being told, now you have it. If you listen to anybody that tells you, listen to me, but don't trust your own eyes and ears, then how is that just not straight manipulation that you're willing to accept? That's all that is to it. Anybody can tell you. If somebody downplays you for saying, hey, can I see that in writing? And they tell you, oh yeah, I forgot, you've got to see everything in writing, which is something that the prior board president mentioned to me one time after she made accusations against a cabinet member, and I said, well, do we have anything that make you feel like you're dumb for looking for it? You should question their integrity at that point. You should question what they're telling you, because what they're telling you is obviously catered to what their agenda is. And make no mistake about it, this is all agendas. And none of these agendas are related to kids. None of it was related to education. I said it earlier, don't tell me that my paycheck from yesterday that I had to use to pay a bill from last year, I'm supposed to take that same check from today and use it to pay the bill for next week. That don't even make sense. There's no way possible. So as many times as you might hear people say, oh, where's all this money, where's all that? Well, this presentation just explained and debunked and deflated all the balloons out there that we're hearing about. Hold on a second. All the balloons that we're hearing about, that all of these things that are going, all of these questions that are being asked, all of them. We just heard information live and direct from Mr. Joe Lynn. And keep in mind, we've been hearing it from the superintendent. He's been going to the schools, he's been presenting this, and he's going to have to make the hardest choices ever if we go to austerity budget. The hardest. And remember something else. The person that tells you don't trust what nobody else tells you but me, you're getting played. Pay attention. Watch the plays. They're the same ones. They're just in the background now. Thank you.
Thank you, Trustee Mitchell, and thank you to the rest of the trustees for your passionate conversation. At the end of the day, you know, it's really about the children. Dr. Strickland, we want to let you know that we do support the work that you've done. We understand the hard work. We understand that we gave you a heavy lift. You know, there's a lot of work that needed to be done. There was a lot that needed to be corrected. There was a lot that needed to be right-sized. And we totally know and understand that. I want to say to you that, and this is hard. I'm a board president, and I know and understand my responsibility and my role here. That it is my responsibility to help usher and guide us to get to the places that we need to get to. But I'm going to read you who was the president before. We're going to talk about the people that's in the past. Let's talk about who they are. Let's have a roll call.
Good. I'm going to have to do that.
President 2024-2025, Adrian Saunders.
Yeah.
President 2022-2023, President Adrian Saunders. 2021-2022, President Adrian Saunders. 2019-2020, Vice President Adrian Saunders. 2017-2018, President Adrian Saunders. 2016-2017, Vice President Adrian Saunders. 2015-2016, President Adrian Saunders. So my question is, with all of those opportunities, why are we sitting here acting like it was somebody else's responsibility? And I know that I'm preaching to the choir, but I want to say to each and every one of you, we appreciate those of you that know and understand the hard work that goes into a volunteer position. We are struggling, we are trying to do the right thing for our community and for our children. And with that said, we are going to move forward with our agenda tonight. Trustees, I ask that you please look to 4.1. We're going to ask for community. That is 4.1, communication from the public on agenda items. I'm going to ask if there are any members of the community. I have a list of 2 individuals. Brenda Crump. Just be mindful of the rules and the parameters around public comment. Thank you.
Okay, good evening, everyone. I will start out. Train up a child in the way he should go, and when he is old, he will not depart from it. I'm going to speak on Resolution 3.1. The Denzel Washington School of the Arts children speaking about phantom energy presentation and the installation. I thought it was so wonderful, so great, which I had viewed it prior to coming to the board meeting, had already begun to share with people saying, wow, check this out, what the children are talking about, what they're going to present. I am one of those who unplug things, my toaster, things that I don't need, like the refrigerator has to stay plugged in. My toaster, my blender, those kind of things don't have to stay plugged in, and they don't. I plug them in when I use them. When I'm finished, I unplug them. So I was just so happy and thrilled to see that. The installation, I had people come to my home and do winter weatherization, however you say that, weatherizing the home, blowing insulation into the walls. It just brought back memories, as somebody said, reading and watching these children, the presentation on paper. I was just really impressed. I want to say that Trustee Mitchell was right when he said the young ladies turned the lights on. That Denzel Washington School of the Arts on the Nellie A campus is more than singing, dancing, and acting. Our children are intelligent and articulate. Young people who are depending on the adults in our community to make a financial investment in them on Tuesday, June 16th. The presentation here from our treasurer, you did an excellent job. Correct, I was a former school board trustee. I was active before, during, and after sitting up there on the dais. I'm still active. I'm not just here coming running when it's time to run. You see my face, I'm in the audience out here. I've been out here before getting up there. I was out here, even while I was up there, I'd come to the podium and speak and was a trustee because of all the toxicity of the leadership that was there. And I felt the need as a trustee to come down from the dais and come here to speak. And sitting out here, I speak. I've spoken, and I'm speaking again. The truth that you've told is there. I'm starting to see and learn that there are just a group of people who, no matter what you say, they will film you each time you speak, and then they will go through with a fine-tooth comb and try to slice, and dice the meetings, your presentations, and put clips together from 3 to 4 different meetings, blending them together to try to get a point across. Right. It doesn't matter about the truth to some people. For me, keep it brief, accurate, to the point, and factual. If I need more, I'll ask for it. I want to end with, once truth becomes negotiable, everyone loses. And historically, Black communities have paid a higher price than most when truth is ignored, suppressed, or distorted. Continue what you're doing with your professionalism, the board. You're on the right track. Continue what you're doing. Thank you.
Thank you. Mark Stuckey.
You know, everything that has been said was said tonight. Sometimes you have to be silent and you get your point across without speaking. There's two things I would like to say. Trustee, yes. I have to say this evening that you was on point on your presentation. It was something that, as I know, haven't been done in a long time. Someone who winds up jumping into the trenches and pulling out the information and showing the public what's going on. And for that, I say thank you. Vice President, you spoke about the city. Now, you didn't leave no wiggle room for me. This is pulled from the city regarding the commissioner's information, but you said everything. Well, I don't have to say anything. So, once again, the passing of this budget is very important, and it hasn't been said, and forgive me, bad names. No, the gentleman sitting next to you. Scott. As you said, these are the programs that will be cut. I hate to say this, but we are the largest babysitting company in the world, the educational system. Because at the end of the day, when the children wind up doing their programs and their learning process, a lot of them do not want to hit the streets. So they find inside the school as their safe haven. So they wind up being here. And it winds up saying that a village winds up raising the top. But it seems like they throw in the bathwater, they threw the bathwater out with the last election with the children. So the taxpayers have to realize that the amount of money that it's going to take for the voters to vote yes for the budget, it's not a lot, but I understand that it's within the times that we are, it's struggling. Please do not say no. My last moment of time is I want to give my remaining time to a fallen sister who worked in the district, who was very loved, and Trustee Middleton, I am so sorry for your loss. So for this, I am giving your sister my time in memory. May God bless.
Thank you. Moving on with our agenda items. Trustees, I draw your attention to items 5.1 through 5.10. Are there any questions? Trustee McDonough?
Just one question about 5.8 and the medical staff for sports physicals for summer 2026. If the budget goes down, I'm guessing that would not be applicable anymore.
That is correct. We would begin our contingency budget as of July 1st, 2026.
Thank you for the question. Moving on, I will move on to items. I will draw your attention to 6.1 through 6.3. Are there any questions? Hearing none, we'll move from, I'll draw your attention to 7.1 and 7.2. Hearing none, I'll draw your attention to items 8.1 through 8.3. Hearing none, I will draw your attention to items 9.1 through 9.3. Dr. Strickland?
Trustees, on resolution 9.3, that's probably something that has not been on previous years' board docs. But as a Title I district, we are supposed to allow our private and parochial institutions to opt in to receiving funding for the students that live in Mount Vernon, their Title I allotments. So we are just formalizing the process to get that done, and I do want to thank Ms. McCoy for making sure that that happens the correct way. Thank you.
Thank you. Vice President Mitchell?
I have one comment. It is back for the I just want to call attention to the 10-year resolutions. And I'm going to call it out because after all these years, I sat on this board and I've watched tenure go by, and I know Trustee Middleton at certain points when we sat on this board before this new folks we got on here now.
Please identify the resolution.
I'm sorry, resolution 5-1.
Thank you.
Okay, so yeah, I'm sorry. So resolution 5-1, it's a clear example of doing things better. What we have, what may not be visible to the public, we actually have the evaluation documentation, the dates, the observations, when it happened, who did them, the findings. This is something that's been asked for year after year after year. I've asked it repeatedly. And it led to, one year it actually led to us to the resolution filling on the floor because you had people sitting in these seats and we did not see evaluations, observations, we had questions, we didn't even have a chance to ask. So we have these resolutions days before we vote on them. Let's just make that very clear. That not only includes this, that especially includes funds transfers. Anyone that can ask a question and think that the board doesn't have the transfers and advances, not watching the ball, because we ask those questions and we actually get the answers beforehand, and then I ask questions live on the mic, even if I got the answer. But I want to thank Dr. Strickland and the cabinet for putting together these 10-year documentation and backup that we needed. It makes it easier for us to know what we're voting on. Thank you.
Trustee,
No, I
Dr.
just,
Strickland would
I just
like to
want to
respond, thank
take,
you.
I want to take the time to really highlight Ms. Graves, the Associate Superintendent, for making all the
Trustee Peterson?
In reference to, I know I asked you previously about the grants for 9.2 and 9.3, about them being private schools. So the Title I funds, are they for children who reside in this district?
Yeah.
Because those are private schools, so their students don't have to live in this district.
No, those are the funds that only are for students that reside in Mount Vernon that attend those institutions, not anyone else.
So only those students will be, are participating with this grant, with these grant programs?
So we have to, by law, open it up to them. Now, what they do with those funds, that I don't know if we are actually in control of that. I will find that out, but I really don't know, but I do know that we have to legally do this.
Thank you.
Under ESSA.
Any other questions before we? Hearing none, I'd like to entertain a motion to authorize to send items 5.1 through 9.3 to consent agenda pending the approval of the budget on June 16th, because some items may change. Are we getting on that?
Second.
So moved and properly second that we authorize to send items 5.1 through 9.3 to a consent agenda pending the budget approval on June 16th.
All in favor?
And vote.
Any opposed? Abstained? Motion carries.
Thank you. We have some items to vote on tonight. Items 12.1 through 12.5. Are there any questions? I apologize. 12.1 through 12.3. May I have a motion? The first and the second to authorize 12.1 through 12.3. May I call for the vote?
All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Abstained? Motion carries.
We have the first readings for 12.4. We have the first readings of policies 4321.11, 4321.2. I'll ask our in-house counsel to, I'll have our in-house counsel read them. But may I have a motion?
Motion.
Second. The first and second is that we have our first reading for policies 4321.11 and 4321.2.
All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Abstained? Motion carries.
Let me give you.
I'll start with policy 4321.2 because that's the longest, so you have something to look forward to at the end. All right, Board of Education policies 4,000 instruction, school-wide pre-referral approaches and interventions. 4321.2, first reading. This is a required policy. The Board of Education recognizes that the provision of academic and behavioral support and targeted interventions for students who are not making academic progress at expected levels in general curriculum may improve a student's performance and help avert the need for referral for possible classification as students with a disability. Therefore, the district will implement on a school-wide basis practices appropriate to enable all of the district students to succeed in the general education environment. The superintendent will identify and take steps to implement a variety of practices appropriate to comply with this policy, consistent with applicable law and regulations. Those practices may include, for example, providing early intervention services with funds available under the IDEA and which may be coordinated with similar activities conducted under the Elementary and Secondary Education Act. Such services would be made available to students not currently identified as needing special education and related services, but who need additional support to succeed in a general education setting. This may include professional development that enables teachers and other staff to deliver scientifically based academic instructions and behavioral interventions such as scientifically based literacy instructions and, where appropriate, instructions on the use of adaptive and instructional software. It also may include educational and behavioral evaluation services and supports. Implementation of a response to intervention RTI program that includes minimum requirements established by commissioner's regulations and allow teachers and other staff to determine whether a student responds to scientific research-based instructions or requires intervention beyond those provided to all students in the general education classroom. Implementation of a positive behavioral intervention and support PBIS system that reduces school and classroom behavioral problems and creates and maintains a safe and positive learning environment by promoting positive behavior in all students. Multi-tier system of support, MTSS team, will be formed in accordance with law and or regulations as may be applicable as well as district guidelines. The MTSS team will include representatives from general and special education as well as other disciplines and include all individuals with classroom experience, parents/persons and parental relations to the students will be involved in developing pre-referral strategies to address the educational needs of their children. Additionally, the district will seek collaboration between outside agencies and the school prior to a referral of students to the CSE in order to address necessary student support services. Administration shall ensure that appropriate opportunities exist for collaboration between general educators and special educators, and that consultation and support are available to teachers and other school personnel to assist parents/persons in a parental relation to the students and teachers in exploring alternative approaches for meeting the individual needs of any students prior to formal referral for each special education. The building administrator will further ensure that all staff are familiar with intervention procedures and procedures for operating an MTSS. The determination of prevention and pre-referral intervention strategies/services shall consider the student's strength, environment, social history, language, and cultural diversity in addition to the teacher's concerns. Pre-referral/intervention instructional support plans shall be proactive in their strategies to meet the broad range of students' needs and to improve students' performance. Pre-referral intervention strategies and/or instructional support plans are to be reviewed and evaluated to determine their effectiveness and modified as may be appropriate. Appropriate documentation of the prevention and/or intervention strategies implemented shall be maintained, including specific timelines. However, should a referral be made to CSE during the course of implementing pre-referral/intervention instructional support, the CSE is obligated in accordance with the law to continue its duties and functions and must meet mandatory timelines in evaluating the student for special education services and implementation of an individual education program, if applicable. District implementation of any of the above practices will not impede or delay the appropriate evaluation of a student suspected of having a disability and the student's right to a free, appropriate public education. Educational-related support services. Educational-related support services, parentheses, ERSS, means curriculum and instructional modification services, direct student support team services, assessment and non-career counseling services, special instruction to eligible students with disability as defined in Education Law Section 4401, which does not generate excess costs and including related services but excluding transportation and transition services and to eligible qualified students pursuant to Section 504 of the Rehabilitation Act of 1973. These services are provided to eligible students individually or groups and may include village-related consultation services provided to their family and related school personnel in order to enhance the academic achievement and attendance of such students. Education-related support services shall also mean speech, language, improvement services as defined in Commissioner's regulation. ERISA may be utilized as component, if any, pre-referral/intervention instructional support plan. Section 504 of the Rehabilitation Act of 1973. For students who are qualified for services pursuant to Section 504 of the Rehabilitation Act, but are not classified as students with disability as defined in Education Law Section 4401, Section 504 accommodation plans may address instructional support services that can be utilized as components of any pre-referral/intervention strategies as determined necessary and/or appropriate. Academic intervention services. Academic intervention services may mean additional instructions or supplements the instruction provided in the general education curriculum and assist students in meeting the state learning standards as defined in Commissioner's regulations and/or student support services, which may include guidance, counseling, attendance, and study skills which are needed to support improved academic performance. However, such services shall not include services provided to students with limited English proficiency pursuant to Commissioner's regulations or special education services and programs as defined in Education Law, Section 4401. Academic intervention services are intended to assist students who are at risk for not achieving the state learning standards in English language arts, mathematics, social studies, and/or science, or who are at risk of not gaining the knowledge and skills needed to meet or exceed designated performance levels on the state assessments. The district has developed a description of the academic intervention services offered to grades K through 12 students and students in need of such services. The district will review and revise the description every 2 years based on the student's performance results. Parental notification of the students who have been determined to need academic intervention services will be provided as per the Commissioner's regulations. In implementing prevention and/or pre-referral intervention support strategies in order to remediate a student's performance prior to referral for special education, the utilization of academic intervention services as enumerated in the Commission's regulations may be included as a component of any such pre-referral/intervention instructional support. Cross-reference Section 400 student learning objective and instructional goals, 40-12, programs for students with disabilities under IDEA and Article 89, 40-25 academic intervention service references, Education Law Section 3601, parentheses 32, 401, and 401-A, 8 New York CRR Sections 100.1 G, P, R, S, and T, 8 New York City Regulations Sections 100.2B, 100.2EE, 202B and 7, Section 504 Rehabilitation Act 1983, 29 U.S.C. Section 794, Individuals with Individual Education Act, 20 U.S.C. Section 1413F, 1414B, 6B, 34 CRF, Section 300.226, 300.30782, and 8 New York CRR Section 102.2 or II 200.2B7. That concludes the reading or the first reading of 43-12. to 1.2. I will proceed with Board of Education Policy 400 instructions, public report on revisions to district policy practices and procedures upon finding of significant disproportionality, Code 4321.11, first reading, required. The Board of Education recognized that despite the district's best efforts, there may be times when there may be a disproportionate representation of racial and ethnic groups in its special education program and services, and/or with respect to suspension of students with disabilities. To minimize the risk of such an occurrence, the board has endeavored to adopt policy practices and procedures for the district that are consistent with the IDEA and Article 9 of New York's education law and their implementing regulations. Nonetheless, upon learning of significant disproportionality, either in the suspension, identification, classification, and/or placement of the district students with disability, the board will immediately review the district policy, practices, and procedures to determine whether they are fully compliant with the requirements of the IDEA and Article 9, or require revisions. If changes are needed, the board will take immediate steps to adopt and implement any and all necessary revisions. The board will inform the public of any revisions to the district policies, practices, and procedures undertaken as a result of a finding of significant disproportionality. Superintendent will notify school personnel responsible for implementing the revision. Cross-reference 4321 as appropriate. Reference individuals with Disability Education Act, 1412, A24, 1418D, 34 CFR 300.173, 300.646, 8 NYCRR Section 200.2B15. That it concludes the first reading of Code 4321.11, public report on revisions to district policies, practices, and procedures upon finding of significant disproportionality. I see I lost some people. Sure, this is my personal. Thank you. Thank you.
We have a quorum. May I have a motion to authorize to waive the second and third readings for policies 432.11? A public report on revisions to district policies, practices, and procedures upon A, finding a significant disproportionality, and policy number 432.1.2, school-wide pre-referral approaches and interventions in 432.1.2, and immediately adopt because these are required. These are required changes. Has been moved and properly seconded that we will authorize to waive the second and third readings for policies 432.11 and 432.1.2. Call for the vote.
All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Abstained? Motion carries.
Do we have anything for executive session?
We do.
Can I have a motion? Yes, I
I thought they had their comments already, but I see we have two trustees that would like to make, I guess, their announcements or.
No, one
Trustee Peterson.
Thank you.
And then Trustee Brown.
One thing that I've also noticed in all the school board meetings I've watched is that not one June has the board ever said Happy Pride Month to our LGBTQ plus families, the school community. I just want you to know that I see you and I love you and I want you to have a wonderful Pride Month.
Okay, Trustee Brown.
I promise I'll be really fast.
Not with that phone.
I mean, I don't know what we're meeting, so I just want to make sure I'm giving just due to our staff. So, last week, Nelson Mandela hosted a carnival, and it was absolutely amazing. And so I want to congratulate the PTA there and the staff, the SCAT team. And I just want to just say the names because people need to be recognized. I feel like this is our platform to do it, and so I'm going to do it quickly. AP Tanjanita Linda Brown, Lisa Acevedo, Pamela Valdolinos, who is our parent-teacher coordinator, amazing. Athena Bryan, Clarissa Burrell, Melissa Patansis, Brittany Richter, Jasmine Seda, Lisa Nerick, Marie Samuels, Nicole Ambrosio, Lindsay Materi, Jennifer Smith, Isabel Garcia, Michelle Baptista, Olivia Tucci, Catherine Murtha, Nilma Lewis, Elizabeth Carpenter-Ferrone, Mackenzie Rogers, Stephanie Zito, Jay Concepcion, Gordon McDonald, and William DeMorris. I want to thank all of you for an amazing event. The families were excited and it was a great time, so I want to say thank you, Nelson Mandela. Thanks.
Okay, thank you.
And I would like an update from our state monitor because Ms. Crenshaw, this is for you. What's happening with the portrait?
Hold on, Vice President Mitchell, and then I'll let our state monitor.
I'm fast. So, this week, see, I'm gonna be quicker this time, or I'm gonna be brief. This week, STEAM School had their senior convocation awards, and and it was just an amazing, first of all, the room was packed. Massive graduating class. So many students maintained 3.3 GPA and over for the entire time, for the entire school year. But our very own student trustee Adoro received scholarships and awards for his work in this last school year. So, in addition to the time that he spends with the cool kids right here in his days, he volunteers. But I wanted to talk to Dr. Strickland and Dr. Maribel just to make sure we shout you out about that, but also to shout out all the children, all the students in STEAM, and including my son, who I'm not going to say his name because he's embarrassed by me, and I don't care, but I just want to say kudos and props to all of the everybody at STEAM, the counselors, leadership over there, and all of the students who just got awarded scholarships and awards for all their academic achievements this year.
And the parents.
Yes.
Oh, yeah. And the parents, yeah, we got one in the room, we made sure I was former Trustee Williams in the room. All right, so listen, yes, the parents, thank you for sharing your babies with us.
Yes, we want to congratulate all the students. We know this is the season for graduations and convocations and awards and proms and all of that, and we will provide some of those kudos again at the next meeting. It's been a long night, I apologize. State Monitor, Dr. Wilkins.
Good evening, Board Trustees, and whoever's left in our beautiful audience right now. I just want, first about the portrait, we should have something tomorrow. That's all I'm going to say. We should have something tomorrow based on the email I just received. I just want to kind of give a little report to the board and to the public about upcoming monitoring reports. The initial academic and financial plan, as you all know, was submitted and approved by the Commissioner on December 4th of 2025. I just want to remind everybody, these plans were developed with the board, with the community, a lot of input, but it was between July 15th when I got appointed, and I had to finish it by November 1st. The collection is with regards to district data, internal and external audits. Please understand, those audits were for 24, 25, 23, 24. They were not from a current year. We don't have a current year. Many meetings, interviews with district staff, community members, and several focus groups. I also included Dr. Elliott's report, as well as New York State CAPS and their aprons for SE, for special ed and for bilingual. So a little bit of everything was inside the report for the 43 recommendations. Budget analysis was submitted to the Commissioner on March 30th and accepted, I believe, on April 24th. And that was ready to go. It's a 6 or 8 page document, very academic friendly, but not maybe layman's friendly. So the next report that will be completed is the annual update, which will represent the current status of the recommendations and proposed changes potentially for 26-27 school year. That has been submitted to state ed. I call up my gentleman with the red pen. He's still working with those. So right now, I'm just waiting for those to come back, and then I share that with the board. We do those meetings where we actually meet in groups of 1, 2, or 3. We look at it, we digest it, we work together, and then we present it out as a document to move forward. So just remember, the one that's coming up, I'd like to get this done in June. It does not have a deadline. I'm putting my self-imposed deadline because I like to be able to do from December 4th, technically, to where we are right now in June. And then hopefully this gets to you. You can vote on that on the 23rd. But in the meantime, what happens is that I'd like to get it out to the public, so it has a public eye on it. We do a hearing, and then we go for a potential vote or approval by the board. So that's what's coming up. After that, there's one more report, and it's the annual report, not the annual update, but the annual, it's like a year-end review of the recommendations. And that comes in the end of August. So I'm busy doing reports. I'm not sitting here, twiddling my thumbs thinking, it's like whatever. There's a lot of work happening. I do want to just make sure everyone knows what the upcoming reports, because the update does have a hearing that should be attached to it. Again, I could do it in July, or we can do it in August. I'd like to do it in June, so we're getting things moving along, so we start the new year with July 1st moving forward. Before I go, any questions from the board with that?
These reports, dates, deadlines are on your site?
No, again, I have to go by what the reg says as well as my contract. These particular reports do not have dates per se. The only one that really does is the annual report is actually by the end of August. So again, these are not dates that are in law or not in my contract at all. But I'm proposing that, I'm imposing a date on it for everybody.
Thank you for the clarification. Any other questions? I hope that we have addressed, we had a lot of questions that came in, there were a lot of emails that came in, and we asked people to submit emails to us through our BOE email address, and a lot of emails did come in, and I hope that we were able to address those questions tonight. If you have further questions, I just want to remind you that you can submit those questions to our BOE trustees at mtvernoncsd.org or to our district clerk, R. James, at mtvernoncsd.org, and we will do our best to address them. We felt like this was the most efficient and effective way to address those concerns so that everyone hears it in real time at the same time, and that there's no confusion, and that there's an opportunity for clarification. So we just thought that this is the best way to do that, and hopefully we have addressed their concerns. Again, if not, please continue to send us questions. Dr. Strickland, you'll have the last word, almost.
Yes, just wanted, I like to show appreciation where appreciation is due. Just to be honest, many of our policies are actually very outdated, and we're talking 2006. I do want to commend our in-house counsel for working with the process that I know works and is efficient, and that's why we're starting to really crank out more policies. So he looks at it, sends it to the appropriate department, then he brings it to the cabinet. We all digest it so that we all can have knowledge of it, and then it comes before you. So it's going through multiple iterations, and I just want you to stay positive. A lot of progress has been made with our academic and financial plan. I just want that to be clear as well. We are working extremely hard to bring a new day to the district, and this is, again, not to fault anything in the past. I can't speak to that. What I can speak to is how are we going to fix it for tomorrow for our children. So thank you, Mr. Russell and the team and our visitors, and good night.
Thank you. We just really want to move forward. So, do we have anything for executive session?
Can I have a motion, please, to enter into executive session for the purpose of update on legal matter and for discussion on pending litigation?
Motion.
All in favor? Any opposed? Abstained?
Turn off your mics.
Motion carries.
Just with your presentation.
Take the batteries down too?
Also, please, we will not be returning to this room. We will not be returning to this room. We will end the meeting after our executive session. We will adjourn in the conference area. So thank you so very much for being patient with us tonight. We know that it was a long, but I believe necessary conversation. So thank you so very much. Good night.
Everything you do this quicker.